Hey, friends and brothers, we have a very special guest as always, but this one is more special than usual. We have brother Chris Williams. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Brother Justin. How y'all doing?
Every day that I
Wonderful.
talk to you is a fantastic day, Chris. So I'm doing wonderful.
I'm not going to say anything more bad about Dennis, no matter what you ask.
Okay.
Don't make me bring out the skull and bones.
Oh no.
This person, well, he's right. He's right here for me, but that person right there for me is the second half of my mentor heart. I've got two mentors, two main mentors that I truly love and care about,
Oh
and
shucks, Dennis. You don't have to bring me up right now.
and that's Chris Williams and Bradley Cohen. They my favorite thing to tell people, because I hope everybody experiences this at some time. I went to officer leadership training and they found me. And when they found me, I found my people. And
And he means
I
literally he was lost at the Fort Worth Temple and he didn't know where he was. And Chris Williams
I
went
have never no,
found him.
this was in Waco 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
And that was one of the best um one of the best events I've ever been to. And having
Where was
Chris
that?
and Brad and in Waco, the officer
Waco?
leadership training,
Okay.
and having Chris and Brad and Larry Fitzpatrick and all the old guys. I say old guys. Whoops. All the mentor,
Wow.
all the mentor generation. Richard was there, and John Tobert was there. I mean, how can you ask for a better team? That really.
I hear
if
last
it
year's
weren't
team
for
was really
them-
good.
Well, part of the team is pretty good.
Oh, I'm not
Part
editing
of
that
the
out.
team.
I'm leaving it in there, Dennis. You dig your own
Well,
grave.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, so
There's-
it's my understanding that there is
Haters gonna hate.
there's a reunion coming up at the San Antonio Scottish Rite. I'm not Scottish Rite, nor am I San Antonio, so I will let Dennis and Chris take it away.
Chris is the venerable master of the Scottish Rite this year.
What does
And
mean?
that
What is
means
the venerable
that- That means that out of the four bodies, he's the top dog. And don't get embarrassed, Chris. He actually is instrumental in trying to help things along since Brad is gone. So he's helping with keeping everything going and keeping everybody motivated and excited about Freemasonry. And he's doing an excellent job. He's implemented some awesome things that I'll let him tell you about. And that way he'll have something to talk about, because I could go all night talking about all the things that he's done for us.
Well, now I'm pretty much done then.
That's funny. This is our first 2 weekend session. How many years has it been, Chris? Do you even know?
It's been over 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we've been working for, we have taken our San Antonio Valley Scottish Rite from conferring and presenting only the terminal degrees at the reunions, and then communicating all the rest. And there are 29. We've gone from there over the last several years. We have at this reunion coming up, we will actually confer on stage 22 degrees to the 29.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
pretty remarkable from where we started.
Yeah, that is
Wow.
amazing.
And as cool as that is, and we're so, I have to say right off that we've had some pretty great leadership over the last few years, and we lost Brother Kohanke. That's a tough loss, but we're not gonna throw everything away and say we're gonna keep moving forward. We're gonna keep working the plan that he had and the plan that we all had together. And this reunion, I've even got some stuff to tell you that you probably don't even know. But we are going to, well, you do. we're going to try to make this reunion and future reunions more of a total reunion, not just for candidates, but also for every member of the
Yes.
Scottish Rite.
Yes.
And we're going to we're adding a meditation session in the mornings on both Saturdays. By the way, the reunion is going to be on May the 13th and May the 20th, 2 consecutive Saturdays. We're going to have the meditation session that's going to be open for not just the candidates, but for any Scottish Rite Mason. And then another cool thing I think we're going to do is we're going to have our education committee, of which you are a member, is going to present an education program, two on the first Saturday and 2 on the second Saturday, and those are open to all Scottish Rite Masons, not counting the candidates. They're going to be in there viewing the degrees being put on, but we're going to have some education sessions, and it's the titles of the 4 education sessions are pretty neat, and we've got a flyer that's going to be coming out, and we're going to try to include everybody. Get everybody to come back to have what's a real reunion. Reunion.
Yes.
For and
yes. A
try
celebration.
to work on that.
Sounds like you're going all out this time.
We are. It's a little scary, but we are. We worked over the last few years to get to this point, and our goal is to be able to confer all 29 degrees in a reunion. God bless. I believe Dallas and Fort Worth and Houston, and they do all 29, and we want to be there. And there was a time many years ago that we were, and so we're working to get back towards that. And so far, we've been pretty blessed. We've got a lot of good brothers that are anxious and excited and hard workers, and it's just it's worked out, and there's no reason to stop it now. So we're going to do the best we can, add what we can, and try to make it as much fun and educational and interesting as we possibly can.
For all the listeners out there that are trying to figure out a way to do things in their own valley and things like that, if they're struggling kind of like we've been and what we've grown out of, one of the coolest things that we're doing this session that excites me is that we're bringing our mentorship generation in, our white hat guys, and of course, red caps, anybody, our older generation, our mentor generation. We're bringing them in to interview them while we're doing the degrees and all that other kind of stuff. There's going to be a dedicated camera to interview these brothers and keep that history. These are the ones that kept it going for us and gave us this opportunity. So we ought to listen to them, and some of them are just, they're, for lack of a better word, they're ballers, man. They got it going on. They have done so much for the fraternity as well as the communities, and they're just extremely great people. And I'm extremely blessed to be a part of that, to be when Jason and I started the 15th degree, after our reunion, we had one of the brothers, Brother Poole, come in and help us with the 15th degree. That was his degree. He was my part. So he came in and mentored us and told us how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to be. He personally came in during a practice session and coached us all on what to do on this degree. And it's a long degree, but it's a beautiful degree. And I give that to our mentorship generation right there.
You're exactly right. And one of the really neat things that's come out of this is, over the years, we unfortunately had a lot of what you just called the mentor group actually stopped coming to Scottish Rite, for various reasons. And and over the last few years, you spoke about Brother Poole, Brother Mox. Some of those guys have started to come back, and the
Yes.
wealth of knowledge that these guys have from their experiences for many years in the Sky Shrine is invaluable, and we're excited to have those guys.
Yes, and those guys memorized. So we're sitting there reading the screen trying to practice, and he's saying, nope, that's a wrong word. It's really supposed to be this. Back and it's always funny when we do that. But fake it till you make it. We'll get there.
Yep. It's working pretty good so far, and we're going to continue on. I think the hardest thing's going to be is to get the word out. The hardest thing to do in any Masonic thing is to get the word out. Get your message out to all the Masonic brethren that are out there, and we're going to be reaching out to everyone we can to reach out to everyone they can to try to get this word out, and so we can bring. One of the challenges that we have is our valley is the largest valley in the state of Texas. So our valley consists of San Antonio and a little bit of the surrounding areas, and then we go all the way to the Mexican border and all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. That's a lot of area, and a lot of those guys are. It's a long drive to get up here for one thing, and they can't really come regularly to meetings. So we've had these Sky Shrine clubs all over the place, which is what other valleys do also. But then when COVID came, it pretty much decimated those clubs. So we're trying to get those clubs back. You're involved in that, and hopefully positive things are going to keep going. They're going to create more positive things, and I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there.
I think you and Brad hit it on the head, with the idea of getting the clubs going again, and because so many of those brothers feel left out because they're older and they can't get up to San Antonio all the time. Many of them can't walk the stairs, and so having that club, and they love the Scottish Rite, and having that club is an opportunity for them to really feel involved and connected with the Valley, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do.
It is, and you just made the comment about being involved. One thing about the Scottish Rite, and this is not saying anything negative about any other Masonic organization, but the Scottish Rite has so much going on. I mean, so many opportunities to work, to study, to learn. They call it the University of Freemasonry, and a lot of guys don't understand that till they get in and they see what's going on, and then they go, wow, that I get it now. But there is so much to do. I've had brothers come up to me and say, I was in my Blue Lodge, and I still go to my Blue Lodge regularly, but we never did much. We did what we had to do and met, but golly, I come to the Scottish Rite, I get to be a duck. And we can tell everybody what a duck is, but we get to be a duck. I get to be in different degrees and learn those parts and dress in these elaborate costumes and just do all of this stuff. And they're excited about it. And I totally get it.
You were going to say something earlier, Justin.
Yeah. So does Houston has a valley, right?
Yes.
But you said so San Antonio goes all the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
We go pretty much to Port Lavaca, over down south to Brownsville, and then up the Rio Grande Valley, and then back over to us.
That's a massive, all the way south to Mexico.
Yeah, we have brothers in our degree that are in Brownsville, and they come all the way.
They come all the way to do actually this time they're going to do 3 degrees for us.
Brownsville to San Antonio.
Yes.
It's like
and they come up for the practice.
5-hour drive, isn't it? 6 hours.
Yeah, it is.
And they come up for the practices even. I mean, these are committed brothers.
How far west does the jurisdiction go?
West, well, all the way to the state line of Texas.
That is massive.
I'm not absolutely sure about that because El Paso has a valley, and I don't know how far south that they extend. I'm not absolutely sure, but I do know that ours, our territory is just unbelievably big.
So we
I have
got
a map
you got
on our website.
Dallas. Dallas has one. Fort
Yes.
Worth,
Fort Worth,
Waco,
Waco,
San Antonio, Austin,
Austin,
Houston, and El
Lubbock,
Paso. Oh,
El
Lubbock has one also.
Paso, Lubbock. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 total in Texas.
I believe there is. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
more than I thought until
Yeah.
we started counting. I thought it was maybe like 4.
Exactly.
Still a very
Right.
small number.
Well, you only hear about the top 5. You hear about Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. Those are the ones that you usually hear about because
I don't hear
they're
about Houston. Sorry, sorry,
man.
man.
I need a
Make it
I need
enemies
a
here.
toilet. I need
need
a button to push for a toilet bowl sound.
Well, we need to run a couple of disclaimers here.
Right. We love them all. We love them all. And what's amazing is, when you think about it, the responsibility, our I don't want to say it incorrectly. I'm bad about this. Our illustrious Wiggins.
Sovereign Grand Inspector
Yes.
General.
Yes, that's it. Sovereign Grand Inspector General Wiggins, he is over all of them, the whole Orient of Texas. Yes. And so, when you want to know where the buck stops, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been pretty amazing. I can't speak for the other valleys, but I'm sure that if they were sitting here, they'd agree with me. He's done a really amazing job allowing the valleys to operate, not micromanaging, allowing the valleys to operate and do their thing and get better. And he's been great. He's been really great.
Yeah, very supportive.
It's good. It's really good. So what is the deadline for signing up to go through that reunion?
Actually, the real deadline is if a guy has a petition and his money in his hand, he walks in on Saturday morning, he's in. So, but we don't there's a lot of things involved, as you know. They've got to be fitted for their caps, their rings, their all of this stuff has to be done beforehand in the registration process, and so doing it on Saturday morning, or like we've done before on Friday night and Saturday.
Friday nights.
Friday night it's tough to do, but we're not going to turn a brother away, just because they couldn't get their paperwork in plenty of time. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make him a 32nd degree master of the royal secret.
Nice.
Yes.
Like that.
And when we have a reunion, we always have plenty of drinks, Cokes, water, tea, all kinds of stuff. We have breakfast, we have lunch. We don't have to do dinner because we close at about that time, so everybody can go off and do their own thing. But I'd like to mention one of the most impressive things that we do that we recently started, and I don't know of any other valleys that do it. We instead of doing the capping ceremony the at the end of all the degrees, we actually wait until the next feast and we do it at that time. That way we can invite the whole families, we can have a nice dinner, have a good social event, and everybody can come be a part of the capping ceremony, because a lot of times people don't even know that the family can come. My family didn't know that they could come. So Brad and Chris, I think Chris was the one who capped me, and that's my family anyways, though. So it's okay. It's okay.
Well, you're exactly right that the capping ceremony that we do is a real impressive ceremony. I will tell you that Dallas, and I don't know all the valleys, but I do know that Dallas has a feast or a dinner, and they do their capping ceremony there, much like we do.
Very nice.
Or we
Very
do
nice.
it much like they do. I don't know, but that when we finish the degrees, everybody's pretty tired and worn out. I mean, there's a lot to it. We used to say in the officer leadership training that it's like drinking from a fire hose. You don't get to drink it all, but you get wet. You get real wet. So this is much the same way. But what we do is when we're done, we have a little reception and everybody gets together and has some refreshments and we talk about it. And that to a lot of brothers is part of the greatest part of the experience, to reflect and talk about what's going on. And I can remember when I went through the Scottish Rite, and it was back in the 80s, there was probably 60, 70 guys there. And that's what we're trying to get back to. We're trying to stimulate the interest of Scottish Rite brethren so that they know they're not just going down there to sit and watch other candidates go through degrees. We're going to have some other stuff going on, and
right.
We might have a interview or two going on down there too. I think.
Nice.
Yes, we will. And Masonic Improvement will be represented down there.
Oh yeah, you guys, yeah.
Yeah. So
he's gonna do it all. He's gonna go at it solo.
You could come down. You could do courtesy degrees down here.
We keep wanting you to come down.
We don't discriminate.
Has San Antonio got closer?
It maybe a little.
If it's
getting there, it's growing.
If I don't have to drive through Austin to get there, I might.
Oh my God!
North of Austin.
That's a killer.
Yeah.
Right. That's how Austin has so many members, because they're headed down to San Antonio, but they get stuck in traffic and stop.
Yeah.
They just give up.
Now, what is very cool about several of the valleys right now is the education. We have our continuing Masonic education, and we're doing a degree every month. So when you finish your degrees, you can come in and take a serious deep dive and really understand that degree when you walk away. And then, like Austin, they have their Friday night get together once a month, and they actually perform a degree and then discuss it while they're having dinner. So they have a degree team come in and perform it, and everybody's having dinner and refreshments, and then afterwards they all discuss it.
That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Reyna was the person in charge of the education up there, and he did a very good job of really finding all those esoteric geeks out there like us and getting them all together to do this.
Yeah.
And then we have the Zoom also, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you,
just a one and done.
The cool thing about the Scottish Rite degrees is you can watch them, and the immediate understanding, the surface meanings and everything are there. But when you get the opportunity to actually look behind the curtain, so to speak, and get some of the people always say, Masons always say, man, I want to read Morals and Dogma, and one of the hardest books there ever was to read. I mean, I know I wanted to read it when I became a Master Mason. I got 10 pages in and I put it away because I couldn't understand a thing.
Right.
And 10 years later, after some education and a lot of reading and research, I picked it up and I went, wow, that's what he's trying to say. And when you come into these education classes, and we're not the only ones that have them, other Scottish Rite Brothers.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
But when you come in and you actually get to, as you said, take a deep dive into that degree, you find out some things that just absolutely rock your world as far as things to understand, deeper meanings. It's just amazing. And we've had guys come in that just, they walk out. I don't know how they sleep at night. Their minds are blown. Wow, yes. I didn't realize that was part of that. And it's really amazing. We're actually on our third time around doing a degree a month, going through all 29 degrees, and it's pretty interesting and pretty amazing. Wow. And after the 3 years, we're still learning stuff.
Yes. Well, my goal is
except for Park. I said except for Park. He's pretty sharp. He just rattles the stuff off so quick that I don't know if he's learning something new or not. He's
Yeah, he's amazing.
and it's a deep dive.
But my goal is this summer to hopefully Dallas will have a reunion, and I'll finally get those degrees. And then every time Dennis starts talking about San Antonio, I'll be like, yeah, well, at Dallas we're doing this.
I gotta tell you,
you won't regret it. I promise you that.
Yeah, I keep telling him he loves the York Rite, and I love the York Rite too. It's got some cool stories, but there is nothing like our Scottish Rite. When you can go into a room, speak as freely as you want about the topic, and it can be as twisted as it might be, and your brothers still love you at the end of it, and you're all excited to get together again the next time.
You're talking about yourself, right?
I was gonna say you probably really test those bonds.
Well, yeah, of course. That's
the reality.
I found my people. They let me.
The reality is when you're talking about York Rite, I'm York Rite, and
so am I.
There are so many connections and parallels with the York Rite and the Scottish Rite.
There is
in a lot of the work and a lot of the degrees, and so York Rite Mason taking the Scottish Rite degrees will be sitting there going, "Whoa, I know part of that stuff, and it's it's pretty good, and in the end result, it's Masonry, and
yes,
I think and some guys respond more to the York Rite side of it, and some guys respond more to the Scottish Rite side of it, and for me, I'm a glutton. I had to have both.
Yeah,
me too.
Understandable.
I love them both.
Well, do we have anything else we want to add for the reunion before we move on to our?
No, I just like to say anybody that hears this or talks to anybody that heard this is just please get the word out. We want to make take care of as many candidates as possible and have the best time we can. And if they'll just get the word out and to other brothers and get those brothers to get the word out, maybe we can get us a real good class this time and have a lot of fun.
It sounds very exciting for sure.
We all have our circles. We all have our circles. And any of you out there that love the Scottish Rite, not a heart, a circle. Anybody out there that's listening that loves the Scottish Rite, think about your circle. Your people are the same people that would love the Scottish Rite, right? So make sure and tell them it's time. Now there has never been a better time for people to join the Scottish Rite, because we've got so much happening, and it's not just our valley. Wherever they are, tell them to go, because every valley is really stepping it up and doing a great job at really doing more than just the facade of the degrees, right? Because that's still somewhat of a veil, because you do, and man, it blew me away when I saw the degrees. I was like mind blown. But then when we started digging in, it's like, oh my gosh, that was just the tip of the iceberg. That was just what was above water. So it's if you know somebody, if look at your circle. If you love Scottish Rite, look at your circle and tell those people that aren't members that they're going to love it too, because they're not going to be interested until they figure out how awesome it is, right?
Scottish Rite and York Rite both have an advantage over Blue Lodge, because Blue Lodge can't really invite people to join.
Right. Exactly.
But York Rite, Scottish Rite, absolutely.
And
you have the advantage of seeing how they operate in a lodge. So you could choose if you want them in your body or not.
I'll tell you something interesting is that what you're saying is exactly right. And in the Scottish Rite, there are entered apprentice, fellowcraft, and master degrees. Okay, they have the first 3 degrees. Mm-hmm. By agreement, we're not allowed to confer those in the state of Texas, and most states are the same. But there are 3 degrees, and they're a little bit different, and they are a little mind blowing. They're pretty great. But I get in the habit of telling people all the time that you know, especially if you're a Scottish Rite Mason now, you know, one brother, two brothers, a whole bunch of brothers, you know that they need to be in the Scottish Rite. You know, in your mind, you know that's where they need to be. They just don't know it yet, and they're not going to know it till you tell them. And you're right, Brother Justin. We don't have to wait for them to come to us. We can ask them.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me tell you one final thing that's going to happen this reunion that I'm so excited about. I've been working hard on it. I'm going to say it. We're going to have a Zoom Master Craftsman course to go through the Master Craftsman program with our members. It's a tough deal to go through it all, especially the philosophy course. It's a big deal. Yeah, thank you for yawning on me.
Sorry.
If somebody goes through all this, and really pays attention to what they're learning as they're doing the Master Craftsman program, man, it's an eye opener. Esoterica became my favorite book for Blue Lodge when I did it, and I had no idea it was about Blue Lodge until I did the Master Craftsman book.
Interesting.
It's awesome.
So with that, do any of the guests have anything that would like to unmute and ask any questions or anything before we move on to the next section, or have any comments? Yes, no.
Wait, what's the date again?
Brother Jason, you know the date. It's Saturday, May the 13th.
Yes.
And the following Saturday, May the 20th.
And if you want to join, if you're a last minute petitioner, then it has to be on the 13th. You can't start on the 20th. You can't go through half the degrees.
Take both of them, right?
Yes, and enjoy the show.
You can add to that our website is sanantonioscottishRite.com, and on that website you can download and print a petition, and it's very easy.
First page.
The first page. Yeah.
First page.
And there's other emails and websites or emails and numbers on there that you can get a hold of brothers if you need to.
Nice.
And you always know you can call me anytime. I'll be there for you.
Thank you, Jason.
Also on the website, there's Fiesta medals. We're selling Fiesta medals as a fundraiser this year in San Antonio. That's a big deal. I never understood it until I started going to San Antonio, and now they're freaky about it. They got medals for everything. They like their medals, but we have our own Knights of St. Andrew and our Scottish Rite Learning Center medals for people to purchase. One for 15, two for 20, and it's going towards the Knights of St. Andrew's charities, as well as it's being split between those and the Scottish Rite Learning Center. This is for our learning center for the School for Dyslexia, which these are guys, so that y'all understand, for years it's happened this way, and the Scottish Rite dyslexia program has been what has taught the teachers of Texas how to teach these kids with dyslexia. And before people really knew it was a thing, Scottish Rite was already working on it. And now we're teaching the teachers how to implement the tools to help the kids become successful. So if you can contribute to the Fiesta medals, awesome. I hope you do. I challenge you to. So anyways,
do they get you access to a Fiesta? Is there a real Fiesta involved at some point with this?
All of downtown.
All of downtown. Okay.
Literally, they shut down downtown.
Yes. Oh, wow. If you're not wearing metal, you're just an outsider. You're a tourist.
People come from all over the world just to come to Fiesta in San Antonio every year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Austin, did you have anything? I saw you unmuted for a moment there.
Yes. Well, since we're talking Scottish Rite, greetings from the Valley of El Paso, the only place where you can watch baseball from the roof, which makes us the best.
That is a cool setup. That is.
Nice. Well, very cool. That said, what we'll do is we'll just move on to our next segment with the same guest. And so, Dennis, do you want to take over with the what we're going to be talking about?
Sure. Hold on just one second.
Oh my gosh.
Be quiet.
You never know. Is it going to be a minute? Is it going to be 10 minutes?
Yep. Brother Austin, I want to tell you, I love the Scottish Rite building in El Paso.
Yeah, Dennis does have a girl bladder. You're right.
I had I had a wardrobe change.
Oh,
Now
okay.
we're talking Masonic improvement. Well, actually, we're going to start. Let's start with Chris's book and introduce that way, and then jump into the summit.
Okay.
We need to validate his presence at the summit. But you brothers know now that this is and he'll be kicking it off too. This is our first speaker for the Masonic Improvement Summit, Building a Better Brotherhood. And but first, we'd like to talk a little bit about. Oh, we need to leave that part out because it's going to be two different things. His book and we can do it all together.
I figured you're going to lead it with the book and then talk about who's going to be at the summit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. And I was telling these guys because they're here, and I wanted to let them know. But anyways, we all know. Okay.
Yes.
You ready?
And then before we get started, Austin asked if Chris will plug that he's giving a talk at Knob Creek at the Festive Board on the 29th. He'll just be sure to point that out at some point.
Yeah, let's do that during the book part so that it doesn't get. We don't want to just push your stuff aside. We like Knob Creek.
Yeah. So Dennis, just do like a quick intro and just go right into it. You got the book on hand, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we're good then.
Hello, friends and brothers. Thank you for joining us today for this interview with Brother Chris Williams. I couldn't even tell you all the things he's done for and in Freemasonry, but I can tell you the best thing he has done is written several books, which will carry through a lifetime of Freemasonry for the rest of us. And such wise words through the John Deacon series, and then now I want to introduce this book here. There is no Texas without Freemasonry, and that's a fact.
It's a fact that it's a book, or a fact that there's no Texas without Freemasonry?
That's a fact, Jack.
Be more clear about your facts.
That's right. Right here. It's fact. But thank you for joining us, Chris. It's always a pleasure to have you. I brag all the time about how you're one of the second half of my mentorship heart, and so proud that I know somebody I aspire to be an author. Justin aspires to be an author. We just hadn't got our butts off the couch and typed.
Yeah, we keep getting distracted with other projects.
That's the thing. You end up doing so many other things that you never get around to it. That's
yeah.
I get it.
So, Chris,
Go ahead. You go ahead. I insist. By all means. They don't get to hear you talking up, Dennis, so I want to be sure you get plenty of screen time.
Go ahead.
No, I'm serious. Go ahead and talk.
I was going to say, Chris, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, it's kind of I'm pretty proud of the cover that we made on there. It came out so much better than I thought. The there is no Texas without Freemasonry is a paper that I wrote probably 12 years ago. I was asked to be a keynote speaker for 3 lodges that were going to have some type of celebration. I can't even remember what it was now. And I got a phone call, and the brother asked me if I would speak, and I said, "What kind of a program would you like?" And he said, "Yeah, I'd really like something about Freemasonry and the history of Texas and how they coincide." And I thought, wow, that's great. I'd love to do one of those, you know.
It's an oddly specific.
I love
request.
history and huh?
That's a very specific request.
Exactly, you know, and so I said, "Yeah, I'll do it, no problem." And he says, "Great." He says, "Well, what do you think the title will be?" I said, "Wait a minute, you just now asked me to do this, and now you want a title?" He goes, "Well, I want to advertise it." I said, "Golly," and I sat there and I stammered a couple times, and it just popped into my head. I said, "There is no Texas without Freemasonry," and he said, "That's a great title," and hung up. And there I was with the phone in my ear, you know, thinking, "Oh my gosh, now I got to write a paper to fit that title." And it came out great. I'm very proud of it, and it's but it's not the whole book. It's just the first chapter of the book, and the rest of the chapters are papers that I've written over the years, and way back there in the back are some poetry that I've written, several poems that I've written, and I'm pretty proud of it. It was nice, and I would have never done it if it hadn't have been for John Deacon. But I've been really fortunate to be in situations, in Masonic situations in this fraternity over the last 25 plus years that and the ability to I keep telling everybody I'm not a real writer, you know. The movie plays in my head and I just keep typing.
Yeah, you're a storyteller.
And
yeah,
so
you're a natural storyteller.
So that's how the stories come out, and there's just so many neat. I'm so grateful to have been in so many interesting and fabulous situations and having the ability to write about them. And that's basically what the book's all about. Past Grandmaster Mike Gower made the statement at a gathering that I spoke at, and he stood up and he said, "Let me tell you how you got to read these books." He says, "You read John Deacon and you find a place to stop because you're not going to want to stop." But he says, "When you read There Is No Texas Without Freemasonry," you just read one, you know, one article at a time and try to digest it and stuff. And I was again pretty grateful for those words, because that's, you know, that's pretty nice. I mean, people saying nice things about something you've done is probably one of the neatest things to have happen. But it's a great little book, and the good news is I didn't have to sit down at a typewriter or at a laptop for 6 months and write it.
It's not that little.
Put it together,
right?
Yeah,
It's not that
little. A lot thicker than I thought.
Well, I'll be sure to put a link in the description of this video with a link to the book itself for anyone that's listening and wants to grab a copy.
What I'd like to say about your book is, you know, we talked to Brad when he made his Light Reflections, right? And we're saying it's a chicken soup for the soul of Freemasonry, which it is. It's a faith journey.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, it's a faith journey. What I feel about this book is that this is the brisket and ribs of Texas Freemasonry right here. This is the brisket and ribs for the Texas soul of Freemasonry.
What have I told you about doing these interviews when you're hungry?
I'm always hungry. I'd never interview.
I will tell you that article that I wrote is probably 35, 40 minutes long in its entirety. And for being that long, it is a very, very small portion of the information that's really out there, that ties Freemasonry to the creation of this state, not only this state, of this country. and the information. I mean, I had to stop because I would, it would have been 2 hours long, but
Man,
it's an amazing bunch of information, and I was just I have to hand it to the guy that asked me to write it because it was, and I've given that talk probably 35 times around the state of Texas at this point.
It's my understanding, speaking of which, that you'll be giving that talk at Knob Creek 401 at their festive board on April 29th. Is that correct?
You know what? I'm giving it so many times, I keep forgetting where all the places I gotta go.
Okay. Well, if anyone is listening and you are in the vicinity or you want to make the trip to Knob Creek 401, I'm not even sure where that's at. Is that in San Antonio? Does anyone? But wherever that's at, it's a Temple. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, yes, the Masonic Lodge of Temple.
Yes.
I've only been there before. I mean, why would I know? But
I was just gonna sit there and let you hang yourself.
Yeah. You didn't know, Dennis. Don't even.
I knew.
Don't even. So it'll be at the Knob Creek 401 in Temple, Texas on April 29th. And it's gonna be good. Just knowing Chris, knowing how he talks, it's gonna be a good presentation.
Well, I hope so, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm real excited about it.
Awesome.
I'd like to make another quick statement about this book. If you're a Lodge of Research member, the Texas Lodge of Research member, and you love getting those books every year and reading through the books, the little individual stories that all the members have put together, that's exactly what this is like. If you dig that kind of read, this is your gig right here. This is what you want. That's what I enjoy about it, is that it is the short stories, and it's so impactful, so many meaningful lessons in there, and teachings, and it doesn't take a full day. You can do it as your morning read, and then go to work, do whatever you're going to do, and
one of the cool things was that when I was writing that article, we're pretty proud of being Texans anyway. Texans are just proud just to be Texans, and that article and the research that I did on it just blew me away. Made me real proud to be here.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, go ahead.
I'll also include the link for those tickets to that festive board at Knob Creek in the description also. But don't get confused with tickets for the Masonic Improvement Summit, which is also through Eventbrite, and we'll be talking about that here very soon also.
Right. Oh gosh, see, now I lost my train of thought.
Is that possible?
Don't get old, people. Don't get old. I can't even remember now, really.
Yeah.
Justin, it's your moment, Justin.
This is it. Probably he stopped the ticket for it. This is my moment. I don't know what to do with it. No. So speaking of tickets, speaking of Chris Williams, one of the reasons for this interview, aside from talking about the reunion, which we talked about in the previous episode, and aside from talking about there's no Texas without Freemasonry book that Brother Williams wrote. Brother Williams is also the first speaker at the Masonic Improvement Building a Better Brotherhood Summit. It's a mouthful. I can't get it right the first time.
Yes.
Building a Better Brotherhood Summit at September 16th in Corpus Christi. He will be our first speaker. And so you won't need coffee, because you're going to hear Chris Williams, and it's going to pump you up, get you excited. You're going to be full of adrenaline and ready to take on the day. Just listening to the motivation that just comes out of Chris Williams whenever he talks. I mean, I'm pumped up.
The rest will be just a big letdown until the Masters.
Hey, Dennis, I like what he says. Well,
let me say this, because this is what I was going to say earlier. Justin and I were talking on the last episode that we had that, when you're giving a presentation, you have to learn what you're doing. You have to really investigate and learn about that subject to be able to present it. And so you are actually learning yourself as any teacher has to learn while they're teaching. And so even if you're just now starting out of trying to put your thoughts on paper or whatever, don't hesitate, because it's a learning experience for yourself as much as it is for helping others to learn that subject material.
I think that's the best way to learn.
Yes, exactly. Trial by fire.
If nobody ever reads it, what you wrote, you still benefited by putting it down on paper. I mean, that's so important. Yeah. So important. I tell Masons all the time, write it down.
Yeah. When I first started teaching, and this isn't about me, I just want to share a story though. When I first started teaching, I had a bachelor's at the time, and it was in biology. And I was looking for a teaching position, and every teaching position I applied for said biology on the website, but then you go into the interview and they're like, oh, it's actually physics. And so after the third or fourth interview, they asked if I could teach physics. It's getting pretty close to school starting. It's like, absolutely, I could teach physics. Never taken physics a day in my life. I was not confident in my math skills, but I accepted it. And I had some advanced classes, and I was like a page ahead of those kids in the book at all times. And that was it. Like they would ask questions, and I'd be like, well, I could tell you the answer, but are you really going to learn if I just give you the answer? but awesome. I became a really good physics teacher and really good just teacher in general. But that first year, I had to teach myself as we were going. And that's the best way to learn. It's to bring it all back to a Masonic perspective. There were several times before I knew the lectures where people would ask me if I could come. I think the first one they asked me was like the fellowcraft lecture. They're like, can you give the fellowcraft lecture in 2 weeks? It's like, yes, I can. I will give the fellowcraft lecture in 2 weeks. And man, with that pressure, you learn it real fast.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. You're exactly right, Justin. I think the best papers I ever wrote were papers that I said I would write and people were expecting me to write, and I had to do it. I had to make it happen.
You have to finish them. Exactly right. Yeah. Yes.
Especially when there's
earlier. I got a book with 18 pages that I've started, but there's no pressure, right? But with presentations and stuff, like it's done. It's done on time, so I can present it. Yeah.
That's funny.
Very cool.
Well, I'd like to, just circle back to, we're talking about learning, teaching and learning. I'd like to circle back to what we talked about on our previous episode with Chris with the Scottish Rite. And, when you're talking about becoming a better man, there's so many different aspects to that. Not only is it mental, but it's spiritual. And not only is it mental and spiritual, but it's also can be with your other senses as well. When you go to work the reunion for the Scottish Rite, you can learn how to do stage direction. You can learn how to do sound systems and all the big, scary looking soundboard. You can learn all that stuff as you go, doing all this kind of stuff in Freemasonry, and it's making you a better person because you're learning something you didn't know before, and it might have been something you were passionate about for years and just never had an opportunity.
You're developing skill sets.
Yeah.
If you don't want to stand up there and present it yourself, if you don't want to do like traditionally in a degree, you're standing there saying something, right? But with Scottish Rite, you have other ways you contribute without being on the stage.
Like being a duck, you can being a duck. All you're doing is raising.
A duck is a member of the backstage crew, basically. You know, wardrobe, lights, props, the altar. As you know, you probably know that the altar is a huge part of the Scottish Rite degrees because the altar is decorated a different way in every degree. And so there's a committee that actually, that's their job. But the ducks are those groups. I can't tell you how many brothers have actually come up to me and say, you know what, I always wanted to work backstage at a play or some kind of production.
Yes.
And it's pretty much like doing that, and it's all of that. And they get to have their own little club and they have their fun. It's a good situation, if you don't want to actually act and be an actor, being behind the scenes is pretty rewarding
it's
for
vital.
a lot of people.
Yes, it's vital and it's rewarding. That while the actors are getting in their wardrobe, the change is happening on the stage, and it's just miraculous how they get it done.
It's pretty impressive to watch the actors walk off the stage, the curtain come down, the actors walk off, and then all of a sudden it looks like chaos out there, and changing everything around. And of course the Scottish Rite, one of the things that the Scottish Rite in San Antonio has that a lot of other Scottish Rites have, but I think ours for some reason is a little bit more extensive, is we've got, I believe they said it was a little over 200 backdrops, 200 drop downs, all hand painted. They're literally priceless. And
yes,
and when they're pulling those backdrops down and that curtain goes up and you look at it and you go, golly, I mean, it looks so real. The way that they're painted in the perspective and all that, just amazing.
And it creates a 3D image sometimes on some of them because they're tripled up to make that 3D look.
Yeah.
Well, in the immortal words of Jason Reichenberg, some of us are too pretty to work backstage.
I have to agree with it. I have to agree with it. There's a reason he's my favorite person.
No, Dennis works.
I'm not going to let him get away with that.
Actually, I was planning on joining the Ducks this time.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't be able to participate as much as the other brothers, but in that portion of it. But I do want to join because it is such a great thing, and that way I can support where I can, and be there for moral support as well.
So
I want to get a duck. Come on.
So back to the summit. It is so just to be clear, so everyone understands, officially, Chris Williams is the first speaker we are unveiling.
No pressure.
Summit. He will be the first speaker at the summit, and he is just one of a lineup that will be remembered forever as the Texas Dream Team of speakers.
Yeah, it's an amazing lineup. It really is. I'm so excited. I can't wait to announce the others, but we're going to do it all in the same venue.
There's one guy on there I pretty much can't stand.
I know. He's coming just to heck with me.
I'm sure.
He agreed. When he kept saying no. Finally, he said, "Well, yeah, I'll come. I'll be there."
I'm glad.
If my wife says it's okay, then I'll.
All you had to do is guilt him into it.
And then and then I said, well, "You get in trouble all the time." He said, "Yes, that's true."
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Dennis, do you have anything you'd like to add to this, or?
I would like to add to this because this is our first real talk about the summit with one of our speakers, and this summit is built around the idea of inspirational leadership. And I'm sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. It's inspirational membership or inspirational leadership. And so I know you did this by putting me on the spot, but it's something that really needs to be said because, and the whole reason Chris is starting us off is because this, he has already done the work for some of the most inspirational leaders that we know. We wouldn't be around here. We wouldn't be settled here if it wasn't for those leaders and just the true grit and fire that they have had. And so if we plan on making a difference in our communities, in our families, in our Freemasonry, we have to light that fire within ourselves. So that's what this summit is about, is trying to light a fire under us and get us all excited.
And I'm glad you said that, because it's worth pointing out that this topic that we're talking about basically Texas being shaped by Freemasons, is exactly in line with what you and I have been talking about. How important it is for us as Masons to step up in our communities, in our state, in our counties, in our families, in our churches, or whatever organizations we're members of, to step up. Yes. And be that example, be the leaders that we know that frankly Freemasonry enables us to be, right? Through the lessons, through the teachings, through the growth we undergo as we progress through the line. That if it all stays in the lodge, I mean, you still have a full, happy life, right? But you're depriving your community of excellent leadership.
Well said, Justin.
Well, and that's where we have to go back to that internal versus external thing, right? Because if you really take it in, then it's our responsibility to take it outside. It's our responsibility to be those people for the people that we serve. And that's what this is as well. It's servant leadership, because every one of these people sacrificed to do what they did for our state and for our country. And, when's the last time you really sacrificed, So Burger King ran out of tomatoes, so I didn't get tomatoes on my hamburger. Damn it, I sacrificed.
Yeah.
But that's the reality, right? So that's kind of where we're at in today's world. We instead of us going out and affecting the world is affecting us. And it's time to light that fire and change that around.
Well, we say we take good men and make them better, right? But no one ever really asks why do we want to become better men? Why do we want to improve ourselves? And sure, I mean, it can help you on a personal level, but there gets a point, like I've never seen anyone that has developed at a personal level who has not at some point branched out and got involved with other things. I think it's frankly, it's impossible to grow as a man and not have people start reaching out to you, because you become reliable, you're dependable, you're intelligent, you have experience with things like that.
You're competent.
You're competent.
You've gone through those rites of passages that have built you up to be able to handle those circumstances.
Yeah. And these are things that are not as common as we take them for granted to be. And these are traits that are growing less common, so it would seem, over time. So the process of becoming a better man gives us indispensable skill sets to make the world a better place.
Yes.
Creates all kinds of indispensable opportunities to do all that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now I want to say one more thing before we open it up to our members as well. I'm going to make a prediction that when you go to the summit, you're going to see the majority of the leaders around our state there. I think that you're going to see the majority of the people that show up are going to be the leaders in our state, because we're always trying to sharpen our blades, right? We're always trying to sharpen ourselves to be better, and at least leaders do. So I truly have a feeling that we're going to see we're going to be able to sit and visit with some of the sharpest minds in Freemasonry, in Texas Freemasonry, as well as in other states. Yeah, and I'll be there too. I'll just sit in the corner with my scotch and listen to y'all be smart.
Man, be careful with those intoxicating liquors, Dennis.
Oh, there's going to be intoxicating liquors sir. I'm sorry. This is our
after the master's degree.
Yeah, are we going to get to see a special deal?
Yes. So after this, we're gonna have the education portion. Then what's next, Justin?
So after the education portion, we'll have a festive board, and after that, we will make our way to the USS Lexington for the annual Master Mason's degree, which I was at last year, and it was phenomenal. And if you are a Texas Mason, and especially if you have not been there before, it should be on every Texas Mason's bucket list to at least see it once.
Yes. And and like we said before, we're going to have the
real quick. Usually this coincides with officer leadership training. This will not this year. And so if you are coming down for the Lexington, you might as well come to the summit. And if you're coming to the summit, you might as well go to the Lexington.
Yes. And after that, we're actually going to be introducing the Knights of Mecca, who are coming down again to do it in full uniform, or not uniform, but in full costume, and really show you what the master's degree was supposed to look like. Not only that, but we're going to introduce them during the festive board so that we can leave immediately after the degree and head over to the hotel and sit on the beach with a fire and have our intoxicating liquors and talk Freemasonry the rest of the night.
Yeah. Because last time we did
I'm excited.
We did what was it? The introductions after the degree, and it was lengthy.
Yes.
Everything done within the context of a tiled lodge takes 10 times longer than it would just outside the lodge. So that's why we're going to do the introductions at the festive board. Hey, here they are. Thanks for coming, guys. Let's go. We'll move on.
Right. But it's those guys work hard to be as good as they are and to go all around the state. Anytime somebody needs a good master's degree, they'll go. You just got to give them time and give them a date.
Schedule is open.
Yeah, because they're constantly moving, and it's a lot of district instructors and past district instructors that are members of
those
that group.
Those guys. Brother Williams, did you have anything you wanted to add before we shift out?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on here. It's been fun. You guys do a great job, and it's always neat to interact with you guys. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the summit.
I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again.
Thing.
Yeah. Huh? I said I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again.
Me too.
I think this is probably the third time you've been on here now, isn't it?
It is.
I think you have the record so far.
Man, we're gonna have to make jackets like they do for Saturday Night Live for the 5-timers.
At this point, I'll open it up to the guests, the members that are here. Do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add?
Don't let Jason say anything. He's going to say something bad. You know
it. Austin, what do you got?
It's not necessarily true.
We'll play 6 Degrees of Dennis Yates here. I actually went through OLT with Chris, Brad, and Larry too when they did a one-day out in El Paso.
Yeah,
nice.
We didn't have a lot of guys, but we had a great class.
Oh yeah, we had some good food too.
Yeah. Oh yes.
This was way back in the before times of 2016.
Wow. Yeah, I bet El Paso's got good food.
The dark ages.
Right.
Nice.
Well, speaking of food, the festive board, we are going to be serving beef tenderloin and shrimp scampi as the dinner. It's going to be surf and turf and top notch, man. We're doing it all out for our brothers, and it's going to be a good time. We're going to eat well. We're going to drink well. We're going to learn well, and we're going to be inspired like we haven't been in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it'd be fully transparent. I mean, if you go to the link to the Eventbrite and look at our tickets, they're more expensive than like Masonicon or other other similar events. But I would say that this is not a similar event. It may look like it externally from the outside looking in, and I don't mean that I'm not disparaging MasonicCon or any of these events because they're fantastic. But I think the scale that we're going for is going to be. I mean, it's an all day thing, and like he said, you're gonna have surf and turf for meals. We're going for quality. We're going for quality on everything.
Yes.
Best food we can, best hotel we can find in Corpus. The
Man,
best shrine in
it's an
Corpus.
awesome hotel.
Yeah.
The shrine's going to take good care of us. The hotel is literally on the beach. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
We were paying so much over at the Omni, and all we got to hear was drag racing all night with, the kids on that strip right there. And we paid what, $250 for a Bayview room. And for our members or for our guests that are coming in our speakers, we've got Bayview rooms and they're only like $180. And that's just amazing for that kind of amenity. Having the beach and the beach right there.
I think the furthest you have to drive this entire time would be for going to the shrine for that part of the event. But the Lexington's right next to the hotel. Dinner's close to the hotel. The beach is right there. I mean, bring your wives. Let them play at the beach or something all day.
I was going to say that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason. So they can play while we're playing.
Yeah.
It's only fair to bring them along and let them enjoy a weekend of fun in the sun and with all the kids around and all the wives around hanging out. And man, that's going to be a good time for them too, I think.
Yeah.
My daughter loves the kids from Lubbock, the kids from San Antonio, the kids from Dallas. I mean, she can't wait to go to these events just so she can see her friends that will be lifelong friends. Mm-hmm. Even no matter where we move to, she'll always have those friends within our fraternity. And that's a beautiful thing.
Jason Rockenberg, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I am really looking forward to coming down. Especially with now that I know Chris is kicking it off. So you guys are actually starting on a really good. If you haven't heard Chris speak, it is worth it. And so I am excited to see that he's kicking off the event and stuff like that. So
I have had the privilege of hanging out with Chris and Brad. I remember after a few events in the past, privately with Dennis, with a scotch or two, and the conversations have been very.
They are
what
awesome.
I remember, the conversations have been very, very interesting, and so I know that the presentation is going to be fantastic.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Can I say one little thing?
Please do.
I think one of the neatest things that I ever saw was the year that we had the officer leadership. It was still Warden's Retreat back then, but the year we had that at that hotel next to the Lex, and it was right at the end of the evening. There were kids playing in the sand there next to the beach and everything, and the line of probably 75 or 100 brothers in dark suits walking from the hotel up that pathway and up the gangway to the Lexington was an amazing sight. It's just I still get goosebumps thinking about it today. And all the people, the adults that were there that would look up occasionally and like have that look like, what the heck is going on? It was really, really neat.
I like that a lot. I like that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, we'll definitely have to incorporate.
Yeah, it's a great idea. If only we had someone that played bagpipes.
Yes.
Ooh. Well, now on that note, I'd like to also say that we're going to have the Knights of St. Andrew's Color Guard that are going to present the flags and get us kicked off right before Chris. So maybe we can talk about, that with one of our brothers that is a professional bagpipe player.
I'm just saying this event is going to be fire, guys. It's going to be if you miss it, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. And I was talking to somebody the other day. So like this event, September 16th, we don't know what the next event's going to look like until September 17th, right? Because we get so wore out. We're like, that was a terrible idea. We'll never do that again. But I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fantastic. And there will be other opportunities in all likelihood to attend.
Oh, yeah.
But the first one is going to be the one that they will talk about. They will sing about in songs for generations. It is going to be legendary. So be there if you can. Be there if you can.
Yes.
If you don't go, you'll definitely hear about it.
Yes. You will hear about it for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Chris, for coming on. Always appreciate our conversations together. Brother White, Brother Rockenberg. For those that don't know, what we did this time is as a perk for our members, if they chose to, we allowed them to sit on the sideline for the invitation for this for this interview and
this unveiling.
And we had a few short Q&As that I don't know if I'm going to leave in for the mainstream or not, but it's just another perk of being a member, and I definitely appreciate y'all taking the time. I mean, you've been here an hour and a half almost listening, and so appreciate your devotion and dedication to the fraternity and to Masonic improvement. And Jason says if you want a bagpiper, you may want to talk to the Chief of the Highlanders.
Listen, you know who the Chief of the Highlanders is, right?
No.
He's right down there on your screen.
Jason.
Oh.
He cannot go a day without us, I'm telling you.
Oh, okay. Or Doug Glatt. Austin Watson.
And he has different colors for different occasions. I mean, it's this guy.
Right.
I just wonder
if he has Doug Glatt. I'm not sure who that is. So, had to do a good reference when he said Highlanders. All right, brothers. Well, I appreciate everybody's time this evening. This has been a fantastic time, and I look forward to this going live because there'll be 2 separate episodes, but they're going to be great.